Hello everybody, today I'm going to be ranking every Cuphead boss easiest to hardest. And I just beat the game like 3 days or 4 days ago, so I'm allowed to do this now, finally. And also, if I spell any names wrong or say I'm wrong, or you feel like you need to mention it in the comments, I don't care, do it. Okay, let's get started. Oh wait, hold on, real quick. No King Dice sub-bosses, because they're just sub bosses. All right, let's start. In 19th place, we have Loopy Legrand. It's a pretty easy boss. Like literally, he just jumps in a predictable pattern. You can use like the boomerang, and you can also use the chaser to easily just hit him. And then on his second phase, it's literally just the same thing, but he just has a bigger radius. And then the final phase, in my opinion, is the hardest, obviously, because it's the final phase, but, like, come on. He literally just fights you beyond the grave, which is, like, he just fights you on his grave. Frick. I cannot talk. He fights you, with his gravestone. Like, he's in the gravestone, basically. And then he just literally just goes back and forth. Like, he can't damage you when going back and forth, but he'll slam down and try to hit you, but you can just dash out of that, which is pretty easy. And once again, very easy boss. The Root Pack comes in 18th place. I think this boss is just a little harder than Loopy Legrand, because attacks are, like, different, instead of just, like, a predictable pattern. Like, you know, Sal the potato shoots dirt balls, Weepy the onion, or whatever her name is, Ollie. Also, whatchamacallit, cries and tears come down, and then, Chauncey the carrot also, has carrots that come down and, like, telekinetic powers. But, like, what makes it harder than, Gloopy, like I said, was the variety. I think what makes it a lot harder as well, when it comes to final phase, is the carrot. Yeah, I don't write scripts, so don't say anything about me stuttering and stuff. Next up is Cagney Carnation. All right, now we're in like bosses that are like, yeah, like kind of hard. Well, not like kind of hard, just kind of easy. So I think I'm landing Cagney here just because, like, he shoots this, like, boomerang thing and, like, these dirt carrots at you, but they're, like, pretty easy to dodge. And when he starts shooting out, like, the falling seeds and stuff, you can just dodge them and parry the pink one, because the pink one's annoying. And, yeah, that's literally just it. Like, it's very, very easy. No things, but, like, his final phase, I think it was, like, almost the same exact difficulty, but just a tiny bit harder, because you can't go on the ground. He shoots these little fuzzballs at you, and his vines try to grab you, but you can just go on one of them, and you can just dodge it. Surprisingly, Hildeberg is up next. What I think makes Hildeberg easier is because, like, so much people make her out to be harder than she actually is, because, like, her first phases are, like, pretty easy, and then her final phase is kind of easy as well, because, like, I know, like, the UFOs, the stars may get you, but, like, still, it's very easy to dodge and all that stuff. We need, like, the moon on her final phase, you know, the stuff. Next up is Ribby and Croaks. This is what I think is the hardest Equal IO1 boss, because, like, come on. If you played the actual game, you'll kind of see why. But it's not, like, that hard either. Like, the first two phases are, like, a pushover, but then the final phase is where it gets really hard, because they turn into, like, a casino machine. You can't damage it until you, like, parry its slot boxing glove thing, and then it goes, to one of 3 attacks. There's a tiger one, where there's, like, these circle spike things. Like, they all have circle spike things. Like, spikes on the side, and these little circles come out of it and go up and down. and they move around, which is kind of hard. And another one is the frog one, which I think is the easiest. You just jump on circle, oval things and try not to go on the ground because there's spikes around them. And the hardest one for me is the laser one, just because you make it unlucky, which is, it's really just the oval spike thing, circle, and just shoots lasers up or down. Yeah. Next up is Captain Briny Beard. This guy is pretty easy. Like, his first phase is, like, really easy. Like, a shark may come up behind you, just dodge him. Squid starts shooting out ink, just dodge the ink and shoot the squid. And the chest at the top, that isn't really that hard, because when he, like, has the angry face, you can just trick him to, like, go down and not hit you. And, his little, like, pink thing, if it's pink stuff, parry him if you can. If it's not, just dodge him. And his final phase is pretty hard, in my opinion. It's, like, pretty hard. Kind of hard. His ship throws him off, and it just grows a giant mouth besides just a tiny mouth, and it shoots lasers, and I don't remember any other stuff. But if there's other attacks, yeah, I just can't remember them. But like the laser is kind of hard to dodge, because you have to duck down every time or be looking up to parry a bunch of times on top of the laser. But if you're unlucky, you'll get damaged and you'll die a bunch. Yeah. Next up is Veranus von Bonbon. When I first played her, she was incredibly hard. But now coming back to her, she isn't as hard as I remember. The first 3 phases is her just summoning out minions. It'll be 1 of 5. It's RNG based, basically. But, what was it? Oh, yeah. It would be a jumping cupcake, a gumball machine, a, what is it called? Jawbreaker, a candy corn thing, and, what was it? Wait, hold on, I'm trying to remember. Oh, and a waffle guy. And then her final phase is the hardest for me, but, like, literally she throws off her head and starts following you. Just dodge that. There's, like a mint that comes, out at the bottom. Just parry on it or dodge it, but it makes it harder because they can both be coming towards you, and it's, like, hard to dodge, and, like, you have to keep moving around, which makes it pretty hard. Next up is Sally's stage play. Like, the first, third, and fourth phases are kind of easy. Well, the first phase is very easy, and her fourth phase. But, like, the third phase is kind of easy. The second phase is the hardest for me, because, like, there's a bunch of projectiles and all that stuff, like mouse cars and baby throwing bottles. Or a nunnery, it depends. Anyways, next boss is the Phantom Express. What makes this boss harder than, Sally's stage play is that Sally's stage play, when I return to her, she was pretty easy. The Phantom Express, not so much. Because you have to have a certain amount of, like, literally, since you only have 2 weapons, it's like, you know, you can make, like, a strategy and all that stuff. Well, the roundabout could be pretty good for all of these. Like, the roundabout and chaser, I'm pretty sure I used that, but, like, still. Some of them would be better with other weapons, and it's just, like, hard overall. Next up is Werner Vermin. This is just a little harder than the Phantom Express because of the second phase, and just a tiny bit of the third phase. So the first phase, he just throws stuff at you with his, like, little not cannon, just a little, like, catapult thing, and something else, he, like, goes towards you, throws these little pink things where you can parry and jump over him when he comes over. And he has a little cannon as well that shoots, like, tomatoes. And the second phase is the hardest for me, just like Sally's stage play. Little bottle can raisers will come and try to attack you, which is annoying. And he has a little flamethrower on, depends on which row he is on. So never stay on the same row as him. And what makes it hard is when the one side of like bottle cap razors just all go, and you're on that side, you can't escape it. And when I try to damage him as well, sometimes he'll hit me when going down, which is like, annoying. Next up is Wally. Wait, hold on. I didn't talk about his final phase. Frick. His final phase, he has a robot cat named Katzenwagen, and it's pretty easy. Just dodge the things that the dead prisoner rats throw, dodge the cat's hand and falling wood stuff, and it's pretty easy. Next up is Wally Warbles. This fight is just a tiny bit easier than the next fight, because like the first and second phase aren't that hard. Like the second phase is the easiest because it's just his son shooting pink lasers where you can always parry, and it's just like spiked eggs floating around him like a shield they can't go through. And his first phase, he shoots an egg. And then he shoots like an egg which like shoots out more tiny eggs. Like, I don't know. And then his face will turn into a hand, have 3 fingers, and shoot bullets. And then he'll start going crazy, like shaking around. His feathers will go everywhere. It's pretty easy to dodge. It's like a wall hugger thing, but yeah. Like I already talked about the second phase at the beginning of Wally Warble. And then the third phase is where it gets pretty hard, because these little like doctor birds are pulling him on a stretcher. He lost all of his feathers, and he shoots out trash stuff, which can easily hit you. And the doctors shoot out pills, which like shoot out with both sides, and it can easily hit you because it targets you. And it takes up like a bit of like a portion of the screen, so it's harder. Next up is Jimmy the Great. The first phase is easy. It depends on it. Like, it's basically luck. The cat and sword thing is pretty easy, but then like when he starts throwing a bunch of stuff out of the chest, it gets really hard. Second phase, he turns into this like wood, I don't know thing, where you have to shoot his head to do damage and go through that, because you can't damage any of the other part. But it's pretty easy. The other phases make up for the lame phase. Third phase, he goes in his sarcophagus or whatever, and these little like red Jimmy the Great tongue thing comes out, starts shooting his eyeballs, which are like alien looking eyeballs, and these like ghosts come out, but still pretty easy. His fourth phase, it's Cuphead. He literally just shoots like the laser, but not as fast, and these little like bullet things come out the side of it, so it takes up like a quarter of the screen. And it's pretty hard, but still, like, it can be easy, it can be hard, just depends. And the final phase is where it gets very hard, because guess what? These are these little triangle things with eyes that shoot out lasers, which is kind of hard to dodge. It depends on where you are at the wrong time or the right time. And another thing is Jimmy the Great himself. He shoots this little laser thing out of his eyes or hat, I don't know, I forgot. It comes towards you, and it's just hard. Next up is Beppy the Clown. The first and second phase are like very easy, because the first phase you just dodge he dodges a little like bumper car and shoot the ducks at the top, like cardboard ducks at the top, and parry the pink ones. And the second phase is just a tiny bit harder. He turns into like a balloon guy, like a balloon head, and the roller coaster comes at the bottom, which is in every other phase besides the first one. And a bunch of like balloon inflatable dogs come out, but you can just kill them and parry them, depends on which like color it is. And then the third phase is pretty stupid, because since the roller coaster comes and the horse is on one side, like the hardest part is when you're on the roller coaster, and it's the golden one, because the golden one shoots out like forward, like straight line, and then it comes down to like one little spot that you could just go to, and then they come down, which is pretty hard with the roller coaster. And his final phase is where I rage the most, because the roller coaster goes very fast when it comes. There's a bunch of these like little stupid penguin guys who throw baseballs at you, and you should always not be on the ground because of the risk of the roller coaster. And you always have to stand on these little like platforms. But it can't, but I mean, like, depends on what weapon you're using, he could be taken down fast. It's just very, like, sweat-inducing. It's, like, very hard. Next up, Grim Matchstick Frick. Okay, Grim Matchstick's first phase is pretty easy. He just shoots out his little laser thing, and you could just dodge the third one, because the third one is always going to be pink. And this next phase is, like, the most health, I'm pretty sure. You just gotta shoot him, like, again. And then, like, you know, he shoots out his little fireball things. And then his tail will come at the bottom and try to hit you. And sometimes he'll shoot out the laser, but there will be 4 of them, and the last one's obviously pink. And then the third phase is my least favorite, because it's annoying. These little stupid fireball guys will jump at you, and somehow they always know where you're going to go, which is stupid. And you could barely go to one place because he's shooting fire out of his nose. And yeah. And then the final phase, he turns into a Hydra. And one of them will turn into a flamethrower and start blowing flames. There'll be these little ball things just shooting at you. And they take up a quarter of the screen. There's rain everywhere, so it's hard to see. So, like, you know, it's challenging. Like a bunch. And now we're in the top 5. The 5th hardest boss in this game is Cala Maria. It's a plain level, so it makes it harder. Because, like, you can't, like, do any other stuff. Like, I prefer platforming because we can just use our own weapons. But no, in this you can't. First phase is pretty hard. Because, you know, like, she shoots out. There's, like, little pufferfish. Oh, crap. Little pufferfish things. Like, just come out and try to get you. They just slow up. And this little horse guy will shoot water, which will make you slow if you stay in it. And this turtle guy will shoot out bombs, which, like, shoots out, like, a shrapnel or scrapnel or whatever you call it. Like, shot. And, her second phase, there's stupid eels electrocute her, and she turns into Medusa, and she can turn you into stone. The stupid eels shoot, electric lightning stuff. And the worst thing about that is when you're like, stone, and there's a bunch of them, it's really easy to get hit. And then the third phase is obviously the final one, where her entire body turns into stone, and her head just starts floating. She's this undodgeable, thing that turns you to stone, kind of like the second phase. But here's the thing, you have a very limited amount of space now, because you're in, like, a little tunnel system thing, which is very annoying. And, there's this little, like, spike wall things, which is hard to dodge when you're in freaking stone, frick. But, yeah. The 4th hardest boss in this game is King Dice. What makes him the 4th hardest is the sub-bosses, and his fight in general. Most of the sub-bosses are very easy, but Fur Lap and the monkey guy are just annoying. And Fur Lap is the hardest sub-boss for me, because it's plain, like the monkey. In his final phase, like, many people, like, the final part where he starts fighting, people say it's very easy, but for me, sometimes I can't parry, and then I get damaged, so I have to wait until he's done, so I can get behind his hand, waiting for him to do it, after using invincibility. And then I just wait, shoot him, until he dies. Next up is Rumor Honeybottoms. Dude, this boss is very annoying. The first phase is this little bee freaking police officer that throws a little, like, bee thing that shoots out, like, spikes. Only, like, 4 of them or a couple of them are parryable. And then the second phase is where Rumor Honeybottoms finally starts to show up and fights. She'll do 1 of 3 things, but she will do each one of them. She'll go on one side or another, shoot out these little circle pink things, and then another one is like a triangle that shoots out, like, laser triangle things, which you cannot touch because it will damage you. And then the third one is she just goes in the middle, throws down her head like a chain, and starts shooting out these basically undodgeable rocket things, which is annoying. And then in the third phase, she reads a book and turns into a freaking plane. She turns into, I don't know what to call it, a bee bomber. But, yeah, she has a saw, tries to kill you. I usually die on that because I always have 1 hit point. This little, like, fist thing come kill me a bunch, and she's taken down to the bottom of the screen, so if you fall, you're gonna get hit. Yeah, it's very annoying. Surprisingly, Dr. Cal's robot is the second hardest boss in this game. What makes him the second hardest is because of his second phase and a bit of his first phase. His first phase is pretty hard, but like you can just dodge most of the stuff and like just do a bunch of damage overall with like the nuke because you can easily parry a bunch of stuff. And his second phase, he's just his robot head just shoots out, goes back and forth with these little like bomb things, pretty easy to dodge. Very little health. And this final phase is where it gets really hard because these little like electric wall things will come out while shooting. We have this Simon that shoots out electrical things, which makes it hard to dodge. It's a wall hugger, and it's hard to shoot when the laser thing's in front of you. And yeah, it's just annoying. And I was very relieved when I finally beat this boss. And then finally, the hardest boss in Cuphead is the Devil. This is a really good ranking on my standards because going back and finding the Devil still was very hard for me. And guess what? His first phase is very annoying. He'll do one of many attacks. He'll spin his little pitchfork thing, and there'll be like a ball bouncing thing. There'll be a fire thing or like electrical fire lightning thing. And then another one is when he turns into a ram. His legs magically extend, and you have to jump to dodge his legs, like the feet, when you have to like jump up, and I can't explain much as well because I'm stupid. And another one is where he turns into like a snake guy, and you have to go to one side of the screen, and he'll take up like most of the screen. And yeah, I think that's all. And oh yeah, I forgot, the little demons are at the bottom, so you have to dodge those. And when he goes into his second phase, he jumps out of his skin, but his skeleton can damage you. And it's annoying when these little fire things are also still there, and then he damages you, and you die, or you just lose a bunch of health. Second phase is where it gets really hard, because he's absolutely giant. You can only hit his eyes and damage him. He'll spawn like a little pink bomb thing, which you could parry in the fuse of his ear, but he'll warn you, obviously. And he'll shoot this little axe thing that'll spin around until it goes off the screen. Poker chips will fall. And the second phase is the hardest phase, and that I think is the third phase is the hardest in my opinion, because guess what? So he's angry now. Instead of having five platforms to stand on, you only have 3. These little like fat purple guys will shoot out skulls, so only some of them will be parryable. And these little like tiny demon bats at the top will come down and try to hit you, but you can easily just shoot them. And then like it's very like annoying because the poker chips also fall. You can get damaged easily. And then the final phase, he starts crying. You only have 1 platform to stand on, and his tears are basically blood because he's Satan, and tears will fall on the side, and the poker chip will still fall. So if you jump around and try to get on it again after dodging the poker chip, there is a chance you'll get hit, and if you have 1 hit point, you'll die. That's why I use invincibility and wait for the final phase, so I can just use it. It damages as much as I can before I die. So yeah, that's the Cuphead bosses ranked easiest to hardest. Tell me, do you agree with my ranking? And if you don't, tell me what your ranking is in the comments. This is Grayson Carter / Carter Productions, and I don't know.